Hi, this is Barry Crowning with Crowning Communications, and I help you turn conflict into conversation. Recently, I was in a tough conversation myself, and when I started to become emotional and passionate about what I was saying about my thoughts and feelings and my ideas, my conversation partner was just being present with me. He nodded his head, he was listening to me, he wasn't interrupting me. And at the end, when I was done talking, he really acknowledged me for what he heard me say and what he thought he understood what my feelings and thoughts were about this particular tough topic. And what he was doing was powerful. It had a huge positive impact on how the conversation was going. He was taking my perspective. He was open and willing to step into my shoes to really see it from my way. And there are three big impacts for when we use perspective taking in a tough conversations. The first big impact is that we become aware of information that we otherwise would not have had. And information is really important when you want to work through a tough topic with each other. The second one is that the person feels really listened to. When we are able and willing to listen to their point of view, they feel listened to, especially when we acknowledge that we understand. And when they feel listened and understood, that kind of creates the space for us to be listened to and to be understood. And that goes together. The third big impact is that when we do this well, when we are really good at perspective taking, we become a valued friend or a valued team member that people want to work with. And that is a big benefit as well, to create close and dynamic relationships in the workplace. When we are perspective taking, we have a bigger chance to do that. So how often are you taking perspective? How often are you thinking about other person's point of view when you are in a heated conversation, a really difficult conversation? There are 5 things that we can do to display this constructive behavior of perspective thinking. So the first one is to really listen actively. And the second one is to ask questions as a part of listening actively, is to ask good open-ended questions. How do you feel about what I'm saying? What are your thoughts about what's happening? What does it look like in your world? What's going on right now between us? So those are some questions that you can ask. Then the third impactful thing that you can do is to acknowledge what you hear the other person say. And remember that acknowledgement is not about agreement. We don't have to agree with what the other person says. And it is really important that we acknowledge what we hear them say and acknowledge that we understand their thoughts and their feelings. The fourth thing is that we will ask for meaning. Ask for meaning especially of those non-specific words, things like always, never, or words like good or better or more effective. What does that look like? What does it mean? What is important about that for you? So those are some questions that you can ask to find out what it means to the other person, what they're saying. And the fifth thing that you can do that has a positive impact in a tough conversation is to never interrupt. And this might sound kind of weird for some of you, kind of unnatural, and I understand that. And once you start trying this out, to not interrupt another person, let them finish and let them finish their thought about their points of view and their thoughts and their feelings, then there is actually a space opening up for you to do that. So when we're not interrupting, we actually get all that juicy information that we need in order to solve this conflict that we have together. And that's actually really what turning conflict into conversation is about. It's about exploring each other's differences and exploring each other's reality and how our realities are different and where we find the common ground to resolve this conflict. So I'm glad you joined us today. If you've like more information about this, I do have a coaching program open at the moment, and registration is open until the end of next week, June 2nd. And I would love to have you join me in that coaching program and learn a little bit more about constructive and destructive behaviors and how we can show up as our best self in tough conversations. See the information below in this email, and I'm wishing you a very peaceful day today. Thank you.